What up, y'all? I am back for another video. I am reviewing Big Hero 6. This was one I've never seen before. A friend of mine, Mara Jade, recommended it to me. So I decided to check it. I checked it out last Thursday and I really liked it. Originally wasn't going to do a video, but I did a poll on Twitter and asked, like, oh, should I review it? And pretty much it was unanimous. Not pretty much, it was unanimous. So I decided I'm going to review it. So I'm going to review this right now, and then right after this video, I am going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 4. But Big Hero 6. Going in, I remember when this came out, I didn't watch it just because at that point, I was kind of done with Pixar. You know, like, I was kind of still watching the MCU, and Star Wars, they hadn't fucked that up yet. So it was like, at this time, I was like, I just kind of done with Pixar. Well, I don't know. I felt like I got older. I just kind of stopped keeping up with the Pixar movies. So I just didn't watch this one. But I remember seeing like the trailers and stuff. But then after it being recommended to me, so I watched it. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the story of basically this. The main character's name is Hiro. He's a robot fighter who his older brother Tadashi wants to get him out of it, so he takes him to this. He goes to this college, basically that's like where they make inventions and stuff, and he takes his brother there. He meets Tadashi's teacher, Professor Callahan. He's like one of the main, basically, inventors of robotics, and to get in, he has to come up with this technology. So he comes up with this technology called microbots, and I'm just gonna try to quicken it because I don't want to give the whole plot because I'm gonna be talking about it here in a second. But basically, an accident happens to where Tadashi dies, and basically the theme of the film is really Hiro having to deal with the death and grief and having to live with his brother dying. I thought it was a very well done lesson, and the thing was too, this movie did good because that was like the lesson throughout the film. How to deal with death and grief, but they don't beat it in your head like if this movie had came out today, that's what they would do. So they do a good job of like that's the lesson, but they still focused on telling a good story. You have really good characters. I thought Go-Go, or Tadashi's friends, Go-Go, Lemon, Fred, Wasabi. I thought they were all solid characters. And then basically, Hiro realizes that his brother's death was basically a murder, and that somebody took his microbots and weaponized it, and Hiro has to try to solve the mystery. So, but overall, very well done movie. You have good characters. You have even though Tadashi wasn't around a long time, I thought they really did a good job of establishing their relationship, and you felt for Hiro when he died. Like with the moment Tadashi died, it's like holy shit. I'm actually surprised they didn't show it. Like obviously they didn't show him burning or anything, but you do show him going in the building, and then you hear like a boom, and that is the moment he died. Like, Disney used to have balls, man. And, because of that, he has a creation, and this is what we're introduced to Baymax, who I thought was he's like the mascot of the movie, but I thought he was a fun character I'm happy this movie came out when it did, because if I'm going to be honest, Baymax would be annoying as fuck if he came out now, because he would just be the constant comic relief. Like, they still knew how to, like, maintain the balance of humor and like telling a serious story, and I thought they really did, especially the scenes where Hiro has to like finally talk about, because you hear him talk about a little bit about Tadashi's death, but you don't ever actually see him, like the moment where he has to actually address it is very well done. So overall, very well done movie. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I watched it again today, and I still hold that review. I still hold that rating. I really like it. So, yeah. But other than that, we're gonna be talking about Stranger Things after this. But Let's get started. Cheers. So the movie opens up. We see Hiro pulling his side hustle of being a robot fighter, and he acts like he's innocent, but he actually knows how to do it. He nearly gets beaten up, but he gets saved by his older brother, Hiro Tadashi. Sorry, confused the two for a second. And this we meet his aunt, their aunt Cass, who she's kind of, I think she's a cool character. I'm happy, like I'm cool with her just kind of being like a background character. You only see her a couple of times. That's fine. Like in general, Disney movies have always kind of done that, depending on the movie. Where especially if it's a kid or teen focused movie, the parents or whoever the adult is, a lot of the time are just kind of background characters you see here and there. They were never like the focus, but anyway. But it's cool when you see her though. So Tadashi wants to get Hiro out of robot fighting, so Tadashi takes him to his robotics, kind of like school-based science school where, you kids can build cool inventions. This is where Hiro meets his friends, Go-Go, Lemon, Wasabi, Fred, and Tadashi's creation, Baymax, who, I'm not gonna lie, those scenes with Baymax, especially when he gets booted up later, I thought Baymax's humor was very well done. Like he wasn't over the top, and the moments they would bring his humor in, like he would kind of just tell you, because he's a robot. He's meant to basically be like tell you what your problems are. So he would be like awkward about it and stuff, and it makes for funny hijinks. But it was still done in a way where it wasn't like annoying. That's the crazy thing. I think if this movie had just come out a few years later, or if it came out a few years ago, my God, like Baymax would just be insufferable, because that's all humor is now. So I'm happy this came out when it did. But we also meet Professor Callahan, and after that, Hiro realizes maybe I'm not going to do this robot fighting thing anymore, and tries to get into the school. So he has to come up with this like invention, and this is where he comes up with the microbots, which he has to put like this. It's like this neural something on his head, and basically he can control the microbots. Basically, they can form any kind of shape they want. And Alistair Cray, he's this corporate business guy, wants to buy the microbots from Hiro. Hiro refuses to sell and gets accepted into the school. And him and Tadashi have a nice kind of brother moment. It was pretty well done. I really love their chemistry and their relationship, like how they were able to even though Tadashi dies not long after this. I'll just spoil it. Not long after this, a fire happens, and someone informs Tadashi that Professor Callahan's in the building, and he feels like, I have to go save him. Somebody has to. And he goes in, and he dies. Very well done. Like, the fact they were able to make you care for this character, and he was only around, if I had to clock it, 30-ish minutes. It wasn't long, but they do a good job of making you, it just shows you, if you actually put the care into. And this is actually going to be a theme for Stranger Things when I get to it. But if you actually put the care into writing a good character, you can get us to care about a character in 30 minutes, and then they end up dying. They did that with Tadashi. Very well done character who you only see him for 30 minutes and 30-ish minutes. I don't know the exact time, but about that time. So he ends up dying. And you see Hiro basically having to try to live with it. And, you see he's not eating. He threw away the letter of acceptance to the school. And he one day accidentally wakes up Baymax. We get some funny hijinks between the two for a bit. And then Baymax notices one of the, because Hiro has one microbot and they notice it going crazy. Hero follows because Baymax basically because he's trying to be helpful, which I thought is pretty funny how they do the characters. So he ends up taking it and following where the microbot is heading. Hero follows him and they manage to go into an abandoned warehouse. This is where we meet our villain of the movie, the Masked Man, who controls microbots. Hero and Baymax manage to get away. We get a funny gag of Baymax basically getting a low battery, so he starts kind of like acting drunk, and Hero has to try to go home and take him home and all that. You get like the funny hijinks again. That's the thing about this movie too. The comedy works. It just feels like old school comedy. Yeah, you have your slapstick moments, but it's not overly done. So then we get a nice moment of, because like Baymax says Tadashi is here, and Hero says no, he's not, and then we kind of get that moment of Hero mentioning Tadashi, and I really like how well they really do. I'm gonna be saying this a lot in the review. They do a really good job of like the theme of this movie with the death and grief and how they deal with it. So Hero concludes that whoever the Masked Man is stole the microbots and used the fire as a cover. So Hero feels like they gotta stop him. So he basically starts to weaponize Baymax, like starts putting putting in programs to have him use kung fu moves, puts this like big armor on him, and the two go to a storage facility, like not a facility, but like a storage place. They see the Masked Man, Tadashi's friends show up, and we get a chase scene, and I thought it was a very well done chase scene between the two. It's not like an action movie chase scene, but it's still very well done. They manage to evade the Masked Man by crashing into water. Baymax helps them escape. They go to Fred's house to kind of figure out what's going on, and they see that Fred's actually like a rich dude, the son of a rich family. And we see that this is where we get our Stan Lee cameo. You see like him in a painting. Very well done cameo. And this is where Hero theorizes if they can get the mask off the man, that he doesn't have to, they can stop him, basically. So they all start pretty much making their tech into weapons. And, Fred throughout the film, he's into monster stuff, so he wants to become a monster. So he gets this suit that can give him super jump and it shoots fire. Go-Go's like speed, so she basically makes essentially a super roller derby suit. Wasabi makes these cool blade kind of, I'm just gonna say call them blades, and Lemon makes cool science bombs essentially, and he gives Baymax this cool armor, and that we get a cool flying sequence and stuff. Very well done. And then basically they all come together to try to stop. They go to the abandoned lab. This is where we get a little bit more backstory that Alistair Craig was working on this teleportation machine. It went wrong. And that's kind of what we get a little bit before the Masked Man attacks. We get a little bit of a fight. The mask gets knocked off initially, and this is where we get the twist that, because throughout the film, they do a good job of, and they give you a believable reason why you would think it's Craig. He wanted to buy the fucking microbots, and he didn't. So he's like, you know what? I'll fucking steal them. They make you, yeah, it's believable why you would think it's him, but no, it's revealed to be Callahan, and that his reason is because the woman you see this is revealed a little bit later, that the woman you see who basically gets lost in the science experiment gone wrong is his daughter. So he wants revenge on Craig. So when the reveal happens, Hero wonders why and basically tells him Tadashi wanted to save you, and basically Callahan shrugs it off like he doesn't care. This angers Hiro, and he takes out Tadashi's like code in Baymax that basically gives Baymax all his programming, and he puts in another one that's just straight up violence. It basically because that feature inhibits him from destroying things. He's meant to help, not destroy. So they take it out. Baymax kind of goes on a kill craze for a second. This is a very well done scene. And it's almost, you understand Hiro's anger, because I'm not going to lie, I would feel the same way. The way, like, Callahan just shrugs it off, I would be like, oh hell no. And then, yeah, so that happens. The team try to stop Baymax. They end up putting the programming back in. But while this happens, Callahan manages to get away. Hiro yells at the group and then basically flies off with Baymax, and this scene is probably the most emotional scene in the movie. Where he basically has to finally come to grips with Tadashi's death, and because he's trying to take out that card, like that programming out of Baymax, and Baymax has like this thing to stop him, and Hiro's like just trying to say Tadashi's gone, and Baymax starts showing him basically videos of Tadashi putting Baymax together. He's trying to show Hiro that Tadashi made him to help, and this kind of snaps Hiro out of it. And I thought this was a very well done scene. The way they do deal with the theme of death and grief in this is very well done. So his friends come back. They all come back together. This is where we get the reveal about Callahan's daughter. Callahan confronts Cray, confronts Cray, and basically takes the parts from the teleportation machine and threatens to throw Callahan in there. The team show up. We get like a superhero kind of final fight. They end up destroying all of, or most of, all of, pretty much, Callahan's microbots. But the teleportation machine is still going crazy. Baymax detects life in there. They realize that Abigail, Callahan's daughter, is actually still alive. She just kind of lost in there. Baymax and Hiro go to save her, but Baymax doesn't have enough juice. He feels like they only have enough juice for Callahan and Hiro. So Baymax kind of sacrifices himself. And this is another very well done scene. Because now this is another base, because throughout the film, Baymax asks them, has my service worked? I'm just gonna ad-lib it. And this is the moment where it's almost like the T2 moment where John Connor has to sacrifice Arnold, you know? He has to let go of Arnold. It's like it gave me a little bit of those vibes. And it's like Hiro doesn't want to, but it's like he has to. And he says it, because Baymax uses the robot fist from earlier, that's also a rocket. And Baymax sacrifices himself. Hiro goes back. Abigail, they don't really touch on what happens to her character after she kind of gets resuscitated, and that's it. We just see her get taken in a gurney. We see that Hiro rebuilds Baymax. That was kind of cool. You see that like he's in the school, also crime fighting. And yeah, the movie ends. I thought this was a very well done movie. Like, the way they were able to deal with... You have really good characters they're all really good. The way they build Hiro and Tadashi's relationship in the short amount of time they are on screen together is very well done. And the swerve of Callahan being the villain and not Cray, because I remember watching this the first time. I thought it was Cray. I did. I fell for it. I thought it was Cray. Because, you know, he had believable motivation. You know, you would think, you know, he got turned down. So, but no, it's actually Callahan. And they gave you a good enough reason. And, you know, you can argue Callahan is kind of a sympathetic villain. And yeah, I don't hate sympathetic villains. I think they're overly done now, and I think that's more my problem. But I'm not again. I think it works here. It works in this movie, but you have great characters. I love the setting. It's like this. It's San Francisco, but it's like mixed with Tokyo. I thought they did that well. Baymax is a lovable character. Um, I like how they don't overly have him be annoying. I know there's some shitty Baymax show now. I bet they have amped up the annoying in the sense of he's gonna be overly annoying now. Like when this came out, they still knew how to balance humor and when you have a character like that that is definitely made to be comedic, they still knew how to balance it and not overly do it. I bet you in the new Baymax show, he's like they amp it up to where he's probably irritating, and that's sad because you have a good character and then you amp it up to 11 because you know. So, but I'm definitely like him in this movie. And the way they do deal with the whole death and grief thing, and I think that another reason this movie works is that lesson is general. There's no there's no specific group or anyone that you can point to the death and grief thing with. That can affect anybody. We've all in some way death and grief we've got it and we've had to deal with it in our lives. So I think I miss that era of Disney when the themes would just be general like that. So, but awesome movie. Thanks. I'm gonna say thanks again to Mara for recommending this to me. So 9 out of 10, heavily recommend it. So, but yeah, guys, I'll see you guys here in a second. I'm gonna take my hit out and peace out. But I will be back. I will be talking about Stranger Things season 4. I cannot wait to do that. I never thought if you had asked me like 7 months ago, would I be talking or even watching Stranger Things? I didn't think I would be, but I call you crazy, but here we are. So, cheers. But I'll see you guys in a second. Peace.